I'm here in Denmark at the Blast Fall Final. I've been casting some games. We casted 4 aces in the last 2 days. It's been pretty unreal. And in the game I want to show you today, there was another ace, a P2000 ace by EliGE. Actually, this was on the CT side. We're going to watch the T side. I looked at this game and said 31-11. It must be watched. There has been so many cool stories coming into this, and it looks like the teams that can make playoffs could be FaZe, Na'Vi, G2, Liquid, maybe NiP is in there, Heroic's in there. It's going to be such a good event. There's only 2 more events for the rest of this year, and then we get a nice fat break. So make sure to soak it up. This should be awesome. I just casted this game, so I didn't have too much to talk about when it came to preparing to watch this demo. I just wanted to watch this back a second time and really talk a lot about EliGE, but more specifically the Liquid T sides. So why don't we get into it? All right, so here's the thing, man. These Liquid T sides have been absolutely stunning. And to be honest, I'm just obsessed with T sides for a few different teams right now, like watching Outsiders play, watching Liquid play. I'm just so in shock by like how much work people have clearly done on their T sides to be super thorough about the way that they're approaching their attacks. And like today, Liquid beat Na'Vi in a best of 3. And Nitro in the interview said, we always give Na'Vi a hard time, and he said they're really comfortable versus Na'Vi. But the reality is, besides beating them in that best of 1 at Rio, you know, Liquid don't really beat Na'Vi in best of 3s. They haven't for years, literally. I feel like it's, I don't even remember, like their last few games, it's just been 2-0 blowouts, basically. Not blowouts, you know, close matches, but lost matches. And it's like, as much as they feel like they are comfortable, which I believe them when they say that, the results... Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. The results show that, you know, Na'Vi win. But today, man, the T sides that we saw on Inferno, the T side on Mirage that we saw on the 3rd map, is so unreal what these guys are doing. And I think we've talked about this in the past, but as soon as YEKINDAR joined the team, first of all, there's so much mutual respect across the board between, I think, YEKINDAR and EliGE, and EliGE keeps talking about how much he's learning from YEKINDAR, which is awesome. And I think he's been support callings. It feels like EliGE has always had a hand in the calling to help out with Nitro, and Nitro him, and EliGE are bringing lots of ideas. And there aren't too many cooks in the kitchen right now because these are the best Liquid T sides, I'm going to be honest, that I've ever seen. Like, I think the spacing on these attacks that we're going to watch in this game are the things that stand out the most. Now, we're also going to pay close attention to the way that utility is being layered, and this won't be a super in-depth look on that, but what we will see that I think will stand out the most is, number 1, not getting tunnel vision when they're on their attacks, how YEKINDAR and EliGE are splitting the difference when it comes to who is doing what entry work, and how it never feels like anyone's letting anyone else down. Like, I think that's the really cool thing that's happening. So I also just love this idea that, like, you know, people are surmising good T halves, and you can put a sticker back there? Wait, what? Is that a thing? I'm so confused. Okay, I didn't even know you could do that with Tech 9. All right. What I wanted to talk about was people are putting together these like great T sides that are so cohesive, you know, right in the middle of this like M4A1S meta. And I really felt like the A1S meta was taking over, especially these Cloud9 CT sides. It was just getting brutal, the amount of CT comebacks that were happening. But right here at the fall final, it feels like that's already changed like quite a bit. So, you know, back in the day watching EliGE play on the ramp, he was the guy who would consistently on A work this ramp with, you know, his Opera behind him, OC. But without YEKINDAR, it all came down to whether or not EliGE was going to get the kill. I think that's pretty much the long and short of it. And so we get a 3-0 start here from G2 in this game. But moving forward in this half, it's pretty solid in terms of the amount of rounds that are gotten here. So I wanted to take a look because I think we watched, it might have been EliGE already, vertigo T side, but it was either him or YEKINDAR, and talking about how they have split up the duties of looking for the opening duels, right? And I think I wanted to get an update on how much who is entering where and how much EliGE is working the ramp. So again, he's the star rifler of the team up front. OC, it's just about the details with OC. He's kind of looking at the sandbags, looking up for the crane peak, spotting for the swing, looking through the crack in yellow, trying to split his attention between all these angles. There's no perfect way to do it where you hold one optimal angle. The upper has to be very detailed about how they're scouring the ramp. And then he'll have just as much as he's supporting EliGE, EliGE is supporting him. And EliGE now can take space based on how much they think the attack is going to come their way. And we see sometimes when people get too aggressive on the ramp, you know, they get too far up without their teammates. There's just so many ways in which the CTs can reapproach, and that means that it becomes too hard to do it by yourself. And I think we've seen Nico get into that place. We saw EliGE get into that place at some point. Lots of T-riflers who are star players end up just putting too much on their shoulders, I think, in that regard. And right here we see them get a kill and peel back, and it's actually a round where G2 search back control of the A ramp, and now... and then rotate over to B really fast. But Liquid beat them here in time because they didn't linger at all. In that moment, they got that kill from EliGE. They made it all the way back to the other side of the map and kind of, with cohesion and with conviction, decided to hit B. And they were there just in time to make sure that the CTs were behind Generator. And we're talking about a matter of seconds, right, in the decision-making from where EliGE gets this kill on Nico and then decides to peel back, and G2 are actually playing very fast and go for, like, I think a short reaggression, look down the ramp, see no one, and rotate over to B. And if they don't make that decision in that moment, as soon as they get that kill, they're not thinking farther ahead, G2 will win. And I think we highlight in this game how quickly that Liquid are moving into their next idea and really know what they want. I think that's the big thing, right? It's like, yeah, oh, we just got a kill on A ramp. Wait, maybe we should go A. Maybe we should test this a little bit farther. And then they kind of go up, and you could still win doing that, maybe. But it becomes clear right here. They know when to leave a site. They know when they're actually attracting attention, and they can avoid it. And there's no wasted time in between. They're just constantly getting a G2 to follow in closely behind them, but never take the lead, right? Not getting fooled or attracted by easy duels. So gonna have the boost up here from EliGE, and what's really important about the wood wall boost is when EliGE pops up, you're approaching the site from two sides on these steps so that you're not all running up in one line, and you're clearing angles like quad, the double stack, and all these other positions. And look at EliGE go. I mean, no wasted space on the entries. Great supporting scaling flash from here from OC. You know he's always got a lineup, and EliGE has just done his job instantly as they, once again, go to A for a second, but come back to B. And we saw multiple boosts actually come out from G2 early on in this game, and some really cool ideas. We're able to try to get them back into things. YEKINDAR handles most of this right here, and that is the beauty of Liquid right now. It's the fact that YEKINDAR and EliGE, they're not the same player, but they are two peas in a pod. You know what I mean? They're cut from a similar cloth, and I think that that's great because, especially on a map like Vertigo, which I think Astralis, in my opinion, defined this the most. Sometimes it's hard to say who was the best, who innovated, and who stole what, whose idea. But in my memory, it was mostly about, you know, device on the A ramp. I'm talking about when Vertigo first kind of came in and Astralis were still the best team in the world. Device playing the A ramp with his op and really having control of it. And then on the other side of the map, Dupree working the B side. And in this kind of 1-3-1 setup, or well, not necessarily 1-3-1 setup, there's always the other riflers doing things around these two players, but Dupree mostly alone, and then the A ramp default, where you're entering two parts of the map almost simultaneously, or trying to go for aggressive lurks, just poking and seeing if you could get kills. And both of these players need to kind of be equally as good, right? You're not really focusing down on one thing, I think is what I'm trying to say. And because you have two aggressive T-side players such as EliGE and YEKINDAR, they both can work simultaneously. That's just giving you outs. That's giving you so many outs on a map like Vertigo that you're not really doing as much on other maps. Say, for example, Dust 2. I mean, you might have a B lurker in the tunnels try to walk out on B by himself. You might, at the same time, be working long control. But most of the time, it's like one idea and a lurk just in case, or a lurk that comes in way later for a post-plant situation. On vertigo, it feels a little bit more like, and it's not like your B guy on vertigo on the T side is just going to walk into sites by himself, but they really will start to lead as the pack comes in, and you will be reacting fluidly to information based on kills that happen on A and B. And I'm trying to say that without making it actually apply to every single map. But you have to believe me, okay? It's a little bit different on vertigo. And there it is. EliGE. I mean, stopping Nico is a big part of this as well. Being very comfortable and taking down Nico. Man, look at the aim from EliGE this game. It's just so insane. It looks like he's playing on an iPad, just clicking on people. 1680 by 1050. Played on this res for a while. EliGE has been on it forever. I don't know if he changes ever, but I think he's just been on this for since time. Okay. You know what I want to know, okay? Because EliGE is a very optimized person. You know, the way he sits, his monitor is exactly 1 arm's length away from his face. He's got his mouse center of his mouse pad. His posture is perfect. I mean, this kid is going to live forever, okay? I'm sure he counts the amount of milligrams in his caffeine and the time he takes it, and everything's orderly. And you've seen his notes when he's done prep for different teams and stuff like that. He is organized, prepared, and optimal. And when I see this crosshair, okay, the thing that bugs me, I'm not like this. I'm really not like this. I mean, I like to prepare and things like that, but I'm not as detail-oriented. When I see this crosshair, though, the fact that a screen is an even number of pixels, and then in the middle of the crosshair, the reason that you can't have a 0.5 crosshair that evenly outlines a crosshair itself, a draw outline, excuse me, when you do a 0.5 crosshair, it's only on one side of the crosshair, right? And I know that when you have this 0.5 crosshair, it helps so much. If you want to have a 0.5 crosshair and a 0.5 draw outline, it helps it stand out so much while you still keep a thin crosshair. But it just bugs me to no end that it's not even around the outside. I don't have OCD, I swear, but still, I just don't get it. And when I think about EliGE and how this is slightly inoptimal, the fact that you've got a crosshair that now, well, I mean, the pixels were always uneven, but now it really highlights it. I just don't know how you can live like that. You know, I don't know how you guys can live like that. And the thing is, I might even be outnumbered. I know there's a lot of you guys who play on 0.5 thickness draw outline. And I just want to know how you guys are living. Like, how do you do that, you know? And I don't even care. You know, I don't even care. It doesn't bug me that much or anything, you know, whatever. But, like, seriously, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? And look at this. Okay. Now, see, this default again. Now, EliGE starts over on B. Just for a second, though, it looks like. And I feel like the last time I watched this, look, YEKINDAR is entering up the A site. This is what I'm talking about, boys. Do you know what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. They're splitting up their duties. And it's like a fresh look. And the cool part about it is you've got two guys who are very comfortable in the aggressions and everything like that. But now what you have when the CTs are defending is two different types of players that don't know exactly how the other one entries and are approaching slightly differently. So if Nico's here every single round on A ramp, but EliGE is only here half the time and YEKINDAR's here the other half of the time, or in this game it feels like it's more of like a 70-30 split. Actually, I expected it to be more like a 50-50 based on my memory of when I first started watching these games, where these T-side vertigo games with Liquid and YEKINDAR and EliGE. If you're Nico, now you got to figure out two people who are comfortable doing the same thing. It does feel like that's sort of what that would actually help out Nico. I think the same thing that's helping out Liquid. But now the entry styles, the speed at which, the angles that get taken, the timings on the different refrags, these things you internalize from like figuring out how to kill EliGE every round. Now you got to do it with YEKINDAR too because he's comfortable in that role as well. And I think that's really cool. And I don't know if that's something that these players think about, but that's what I think about, okay? That's what I'm thinking about. And there he goes again. Look, it's Nico has just two massive problems, right? two top 20 players coming in his way to his site every single round. You never know which one it's going to be, and you never know how fast they're going to do it. I feel like that's Liquid's big strength right now. That's their big, unique strength at the moment. The two kind of massive T-side openers. But seriously, you could have two big T-side, massive T-side openers, and then OC in the supporting op positions at all times. I mean, you could have the two big T-side openers, but if you don't have good nades and op behind it, it won't matter. I mean, you will still lose to great teams. And right now, when we see Liquid beat a team like Na'Vi, they don't do that just because they have two big T-side openers. They do that because they have a really good system. The calling is splendid, and the spacing in the attacks, and just the fact that it just feels like everyone knows when it's time to go and when it's time to leave. When it's time to go and when it's time to go. Do you know what I mean? I think Monacy's the last one, if I remember. I did cast this game, but it's hard. It's hard, man. Casting a lot. I'm always surprised watching demos back of games I cast. Oh, I was there for this. I literally casted this. And now we have that odd rounds where he might go for a mid lurk. This position, you do want to be like painfully slow sometimes when it comes to the mid lurks, but of course, as we see, this is actually not a lurk. It's just a B split, and this was actually a really cool round out of Team Liquid. He can even send his teammate to go get that frag, and EliGE is just like, where's the next rotator? And again, not getting tunnel vision. Big theme here for how Liquid are standing out versus others. And right now they've got a guy at the bottom of steps. They just need to clear him out. Or they thought that there was. Actually, it looks like an over-rotation here from G2 as they just gambled and thought it was A. And it's just been like kind of a calm, no stress. All of the players are coming into their crosshairs type of situation. And just on its face, you've just really got to appreciate EliGE's aim. This, you know, he's really good at popping the, what are they, red bubbles? Blue, I don't know what people are using on aim lab now, but he's putting up high scores on grid shot, and it shows. You know that meme where they do the grid shot, and then they run out, mostly did in Valorant, some people did CS ones, they run out like long A, and then they just spam everywhere and miss. EliGE is that, except he's just killing everybody. It's actually working. It's not a meme. Alright. Well, he's good, but this one's too much. OC is a really, I think, he comes across as a really smart person. I think a really good refragger. But I feel like since EliGE has joined the team, since YEKINDAR has joined the team, he has really kind of not put an emphasis on him needing to win the rounds. And I think he's been kind of very supportive. We saw today that Mirage was a great map for him because he was taking more initiative and being out there a bit more. And sometimes I just feel like his aim is so good and he's smart and he knows what he's doing. And I wish he would just get out there a little bit more. Like I kept in my head contrasting how much Simple was taking over rounds and really being a part of the action at all times. And not even putting his op in mega dangerous positions all the time. Not being overtly aggressive, but just being a little bit more out there, on and off angle, a little bit more committed. And I just think with EliGE and YEKINDAR doing that with rifles and having so much success, if OC took some initiative himself, I mean, I feel like they would just steamroll right now. Honestly. I feel like, I feel like OC is just kind of taking a back seat. I'm not sure if it's by his own volition or if it's because the team just feels like they don't need him to do that. I think in an interview, actually, after they made finals of Pro League, EliGE did mention something like that they don't need him to go crazy to win. And EliGE and OC did have a really good playoffs, but it feels like it's getting worse and worse. And I'm a huge fan of OC, massive. And it's true, he doesn't have to carry his team like he was doing in NA during that online year where he was pulling together like top 20 stats online in NA, but he has the markings of being, you know, NA's best opper of all time, but he's not doing that right now. And I think it's untapped potential on this roster still. But look at that. 3 players on the swing. They take out both the Heaven guy and the Sandbags player. And look, again, how close this spacing is. I mean, these guys are shoulder to shoulder. EliGE could tell you in this round what Nitro smelt like as they were wrapping into the B site because there's just no space. It's like a crammed train where the door can barely close behind you. But it's by design. And it's really hard to stop. And then on top of that, everyone believes in the round. Like, they're clearly very focused on their crosshairs, and they not just following orders. They know what they're supposed to look like and what they're supposed to look at and, you know, when the kills are coming. I think that's a big thing. Of course, some of this conjecture, I'm just looking in from the outside, but this is what I see. This is what I see. I'm here to gush about Liquid and their amazing T-sides right now. I love it. I was thinking Mouse Sports at the Major was like an anomaly. They were just like such good T-sides, but now these Liquid T-sides, they piqued my interest. And I want to see more. You know, almost never, you know, so far in this half, we've seen EliGE turn the corner on A ramp. Most of the time, he's got up to here, looked for his kill here, waited for a re-aggression, been very patient, searched out this kill, taken them down, and then just let his teammates do the rest of the work or gone back to B. And I love that. It's clearly so impactful, but at the same time, it's really reserved. And yeah, and look, and like even in losing situations or 45s, the team still holds it together, believes that they can actually figure this out. And this is where OC and people like NAF do get chances to shine. They are very good closers. And I think they're, you know, mid-rounding can always get better, but so far, Liquid and these guys have shown some good form. I mean, look at this. One idea into the next, right? Op clear, into push for the bomb, into Molotov over, into smoke the molly, into fall back, OC supporting. There's very few gaps in all of this pressure. And this smoke coming down, I think, actually wins the round for G2. But this was such a nice attempt in the 2v4. And a great shot from OC. And he actually was right on him, by the way. Right on him, boys. You see that? Literally, he was right on him. But the defuse came in just too quickly. Okay. I think we did see immaculate spacing, really great aim, comfort, cohesion, good utility usage. You could almost hear the comms without the comms. I think I want to know what you guys have to say about these Liquid T-sides, but they've been blowing my mind. And right now, Liquid have just qualified to play in front of the crowd. Semi-final spot locked in. World final spot locked in as well at Blast to play in the final tournament of the year. I'm so excited for them. I'm so excited as an NA fan, of course, and they are really showing so much progress. And I hope that a trophy for EliGE and for this whole roster is on the horizon, because a grand finals was cool, but the novelty of that will wear off soon. You know, that was cool to have them in a grand finals in the first grand finals for like the last 3 years, but now a tournament win, I think it's very much on the way. Liquid, FaZe, Na'Vi, maybe G2, maybe Heroic, Cloud9. There are lots of teams that I feel like can win a really big tournament right now, and that's an incredibly exciting prospect. But yeah, I got to be a little biased. I hope Liquid are one of the first to make it happen. So looking forward to how this year wraps up and seeing where EliGE can end up actually in terms of statistics, because I think Nafly is like slightly ahead of him in the year, I think, and EliGE has had, I believe, 5 appearances in the top 20 and is somebody that, you know, many regard as the best NA player of all time. So we'll see if another top 20 appearance is possible by the end of the year. Maybe if these two tournaments are that strong, I think, you know, there's going to be an argument for it. So let's stay tuned and keep watching and enjoying CS, because the stories keep coming. If you're new to CS, you're lucky. It's never been better, and it's only going to get better as well. So keep watching, and I'll keep doing my part to document it as we keep going. So let me know who we got next, and thanks for watching.